Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. My name's Adamantium. I hope you're all doing well out there. Today's date is Monday the 22nd of August 2011, and as the title of this video suggests, today is the second anniversary of my joining of the Zeitgeist movement. And I thought I should just make a quick video to share with you how I've progressed and what I've learned over the last 730 days. I made a post on the UK forum for the Zeitgeist movement this time last year, chronicling my 1 year anniversary. So I'll just quickly read through that, and it'll give you a bit of a scope as to what sort of progress I've made so far and how that compares to the extra year that's passed since then. So here we go. Hey guys, today I'm celebrating my 1 year anniversary of joining the movement. Today I've been contemplating the last 365 days, and I thought it would be beneficial to share this tale of enlightenment with you all. Maybe it could provide mutuality and possibly even inspiration. As I've grown up from an early age, I've felt somehow disconnected from society as a whole. Even though I was diagnosed with mild Asperger's syndrome at the age of 11, I felt my disconnection is further than the fact that I have autism, or on the autistic spectrum. It was almost as though there was something missing that I wasn't yet aware of. Every aspect of my thinking has always gone against the grain, as it were, and combined with the fact that I was raised to be forthright and willing to express my thoughts and feelings, this understandably created certain frictions with those inclined towards an opposing train of thought, or even a propensity towards passivity or stubborn conventional thought. Immediately following the experience of watching Zeitgeist Addendum for the first time, besides overwhelming feelings of both anger and elation, I decided to review the global site to see for myself what we proposed. I had felt anger because I had been born into this world that has been permitted to descend and deteriorate into the state we know of it today, all because of money. And elation because I'd somehow found the missing piece that I'd been looking for. I already knew, ever since I could think on the matter, that the world was not as it should be. But I'd finally found a means for myself to actually make a difference. As I pursued my course of self-education, I had questions. Then more, and I sought relentlessly to find the answers, as I had always done. I'd realized that I already possessed the open mind required to see the validity of this direction. However, I realized that there were certain things I'd never been completely certain about. The information I had come across in the movement served to bring everything into focus. In social situations, taking into consideration my tendency to speak my mind, this understandably resulted in strained friendships and heated words with acquaintances and so-called friends. I admit that in the beginning I often strayed into the realm of fanaticism even. My passion, combined with my incomplete knowledge of the movement at that moment in time, resulted in irrational behaviour that alienated people, and I lost friends over it. Even in my relationship at one point, it came into question, since my girlfriend had become convinced that I'd become obsessed with the movement, though given time my other half has learned to accept the fact that I am passionate about this direction. As time went by and my knowledge grew, I learned to suppress my emotions when I sensed their escalation. I learned that the only means to be taken seriously and to keep your head while explaining this direction is to implement a self-monitoring process to keep yourself in check. Even though I had learned to keep my emotions under control and remain calm when talking to people about this direction, I've noticed that a general feeling of frustration can occasionally make an appearance, and I've been known on occasion to feel motivation sapped from me as frustration, makes itself known. All this turmoil in recent months has been extremely helped by the fact that I have formed great friendships with existing members in the movement, as I've noticed supposed friends run away. They've been replaced by understanding, open-minded and intellectual people who are more than willing to listen to me, without accusing me of thinking too much or talking too much or rocking the boat. I've realized that community as an extensionality of the institution of family is key to our prosperity and our peace of mind, both as a movement and as a species. While I have lost friends who were ignorant, belligerent and hostile, I have come to consider their behavior as nothing more than a rejection of our tenets on grounds of conflicting values. This has not led me to consider them in any way less of a person than myself. On the contrary, it has inspired me to do what I can to appeal to this form of indoctrination with higher success. I had right then decided upon the implementation of 3 major projects for myself. Number 1, my own lecture material. Number 2, a Q&A radio address. And number 3, the formation of a band whose aims are the conveyance of what is truly wrong with our current economic model, the movement's tenets, and the direction of a resource-based economy. Even though it has taken me quite a long time, I have grown confident in my understanding of the movement's tenets and the true direction that we're all pushing for. I've learned and grown far beyond my expectations, and along the way I've met and befriended some wonderful and altruistic people. My journey of discovery and education will never cease. I will continue to pursue enlightenment and knowledge, and I wholeheartedly invite the future, while using the lessons of the past as a guide. For anyone reading this, or in this case watching this, who can empathize with feelings of frustration, my only advice will be to just hold on. Time is a great decider of the elements of our lives and a great problem solver when no feasible solution is evident. In time you will also, just like myself, find a balance and learn to trust your judgment more as your knowledge grows and evolves. And as we find our own paths towards enlightenment, we will find that feeling of unconditional love as an inviting option. To treat others as you wish to be treated, and given time, we will all become the change. So yeah, that's the post I made on the UK forum for the 1-year milestone. But what's happened since then? Well, where to begin? Since then I've moved from Kent to West Sussex. I've connected with and formed wonderful friendships with the lovely people in the Brighton chapter. I love you all. And I'm in full swing with my podcast shows. In fact, I've even hosted one of the global radio shows. Also, while on the subject of radio shows, Peter Joseph, if you're watching this, I would love to have you on as a future guest on my podcast shows. So please get back to me about that. I appreciate that you're a busy man, but we have plenty of time to arrange like a Skype conversation. I've already got some ideas for topics that we can both go off on. But back to what I'm doing. Whenever I can, I attend and contribute towards the TZM information stalls that are held in Brighton, and I really thoroughly enjoy the act of talking to people about this direction and handing out flyers and DVDs. I endeavour to carry flyers with me, as much as possible, so I can leave them in places where people can, pick one up and read it and take it away with them. Such as trains, doctors' waiting rooms, cafes, shop counters, obviously with the proprietor's permission. and essentially anywhere I can, really. I mean, if I'm ever in a situation where socially conscious issues come up in conversation, then I can always give a flyer to whom I'm talking to as to, cut down the need to explain at length what I advocate, because instead they can just read the flyer and do further research at their own leisure if they're interested. I've been contacting political figures, public figures, in television and radio programs to ask to present this information, or in the very least give it a little mention. There's actually a campaign going on right now to try and get Zeitgeist Addendum, or Zeitgeist Moving Forward, broadcast on mainstream TV. The campaign, obviously self-explanatorily is called Let's Get Zeitgeist Addendum / Moving Forward on Mainstream TV. The main target for this campaign right now is Channel 4. So I suggest you look this page up on Facebook and see how we can plan to get this done. I haven't as of yet constructed the band that will be a vehicle for promoting sustainable values and illustrating how cancerous our current system is through the medium of music. That I admit is a hurdle I haven't yet tackled, but it's in the works. So watch this space. On a personal level, I feel I've chilled out a hell of a lot more, and as such I'm far less vulnerable to the frustrations and pitfalls that I used to fall victim to when promoting these ideas. I mean, I don't debate the trolls anymore. I mean, I've come to fully realise that at least trying to rationalise with those kind of individuals is an exercise in futility. Trust me, people, it really is. So don't feed the trolls. I've grown so much more adept at communicating the ideas and information that we as the movement have to provide for people. And I feel I've moved closer to actually embodying the value set that we spend so much time advocating. I'm always endeavouring to manage my behaviour with the aim of yielding positive outcomes for myself, others, and society as a whole. So in essence, I feel closer to becoming the change that we wish to see in the world. On a pragmatic note, I am doing my best to do what I can to spread awareness and educate others, while at the same time making time to spend with my girlfriend, even though she would probably tell you that I spend far too much time being an activist than I do being a boyfriend. But I'm working on it. I really am. To me, the line between the two is a wide, blurry line beneath the surface and barely visible that, it seems that everyone else is able to see. But I am working on it. So, how can I summarise? Well, what can I say that I've learned in the last 2 years? Well, first of all, we need to let go of ego. Okay, that crap does no one any good. Second, you need to keep your eyes, your mind, and your heart open. Only when we consider ourselves eager recipients of information will we ever progress. If we continue to cling to static notions, we will simply keep getting offended by new things and treating our fellow man with abhorrence and inevitably just spinning our wheels and never getting anywhere. In fact, it will most likely drag us backwards. Third, you need to love to learn and learn to love. Only when you consider yourself as one with humanity will you ever see the world for what it has become, and truly give you the will and the strength to change it for the better. I mean, are we living in a fractal universe? Personally, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some instances of it, but I guess I haven't really looked into it that much to see how deeply it really goes. Are we, the human race, going to pull through and avoid complete destruction? I sincerely hope so. I mean, I try my best to remain as optimistic as possible about it, because as far as I'm concerned, if you're of the opinion that we're all screwed, then the idea of transitory action becomes a moot point, doesn't it? I mean, and really, what is the point in giving up the race before you've even crossed the finish line? You know, I mean, doesn't that invalidate the very reason why you were running this whole time? I mean, personally, I don't know if we will pull through and survive as a species, but let me make this perfectly crystal clear. That's up to all of us. Okay? I mean, if we want to pull through, then by golly, we will. You know? I mean, if we don't think it's possible, then we're all screwed and there's no hope for any of us. You know? I mean, it's like Jacques Fresco said, if we do nothing, then I guarantee you that nothing will happen. This essentially applies to all of you watching this, and especially those of you that are parents as well. I mean, what persuasion are you in respect of how we pull through? Do you think we will, or do you think we won't? You know, if not, then I should remind you of your offspring, you know, and what kind of world you're condemning them to through your apathy and or inaction. You know, and that's the point here, isn't it? I mean, are we here to just survive and save ourselves? You know, or are we here to make the world a better place, you know, for future generations? Because that's the thing. What we do using the Zeitgeist movement as the inspiration in our value system shift and the movement into a better social paradigm is something that will most likely not come to fruition in our immediate lifetimes. You know, but is that a reason to give up right now? Of course not. You know, Rome was not built in a day, you know. I mean, and to those who say to me, "Oh, I'm not going to personally benefit from this, so why should I do anything?" Personally, I respond to them with, "Okay, if that's the way you feel, but let me tell you that the reason we're in such a dire state of affairs right now is because every single generation before you has had that exact mentality. So please, stop complaining. And as Bruce Willis said in the film Die Hard, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem." Or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. Now, obviously there's an exception for the 60s generation, or, you know, as the baby boomers, as they're referred to, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's, you know, there were one generation that was stomped on by vicious, you know, foreign policy. You know, one thing I know for sure in respect to what we do, you know, to impact our future is that apathy, blind obedience and inaction of prior generations has done its part to lead us to this point that we're at right now. You know, a world on the precipice of complete global collapse. I mean, looking back, would you want to be able to say that you did your part and contributed towards humanity's continued survival? Or would you prefer to walk on and have the knowledge that you allowed humanity to sink into extinction? If it is fear or futility that drives this, then I understand. I mean, seriously, I do. I mean, I used to be of that persuasion. I used to think that I'm nothing more than one person amongst a sea of billions where, you know, and there's no possible difference I could make. But then I discovered that there's actually a way forward outside of the monetary paradigm where humanity can actually enjoy life without the slavery characteristic of our lives today. You know, I hope you all find it in your hearts and in your minds to truly take those blinders off and see the need to completely flee this cancerous anti-economic system that we live in today. if you feel you can, because we need to. And as Dr. Kill Money says, we need to kill money before money kills us. But anyway, that's all from me for now. I will be uploading my next Q&A podcast on or around the 5th of September on talkshoe.com and also here on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. But on the subject of my podcast, I'm always looking for questions to answer on my Q&A shows. So if you have any, by all means, send them my way. Bring them on. You know, I love questions. But anyway, I thank you all for watching, and I hope you all take care. Bye bye now.